Hi Biology. I wanted to make a little video and kind of go over the abiotic and biotic factors lab write-up because I'm getting a lot of questions and so I'm sensing you're confused. I'm sorry. So I wanted to try to help you and clarify questions. All right. So we're working on assignment number 25. That's due tomorrow, Friday at midnight. And so I just wanted to start. It's on Google Classroom. This is where you find it. And this is some other resources that you may or may want to take a look at, but you may want to wait until you've got kind of the main part of your lab written. Okay, so number 25, here's the template right there, and you're going to be modifying it. And I also put a couple other, some other information. I put the group posters here as well. So that's what the different groups that shared out, you want to have access to that to put that in your lab write-up as well, okay? And also the comments that people made on what your group said in the arguments, as well as the original lab. So there's a lot of information here for you that you could use that maybe will be helpful, okay? So I made my own version of the template. Okay, so again, this is just a template, so you're going to mark it up and change it as needed. Okay, so lab title would be abiotic and biotic factors. You could also call it, you could name it another name, that's something that makes sense. You might call it the coffee lab, something like that, all right? And we'll just pick on period 2. And then my name is Rebecca Sless. Okay, so introduction and guiding questions. So in this section, what was in the green is kind of like questions that you need to answer and include in your paragraph. So I want you to provide background information about the concept, what the goal was, etc. So these are just here, these green, the green font is just here to help you, kind of guide you and help you with what needs to go in. So I hope that wasn't confusing. I'm getting some questions about that. Okay, so all right, so that just refer to that and then you can take it off if you need at the end. So first sentence I started for you, we've been studying abiotic and biotic factors in class. At the beginning of the investigation, I knew, and you might say something like, I knew that abiotic factors were not living, and biotic factors were things that were alive. Something like that. You might explain more about what that is. I don't want to write your whole lab, but so abiotic, and probably, 7 sentences is good to have in your first paragraph. So abiotic factors can include things like temperature, water, pH, and even caffeine, right? That's what you were really looking at in this lab. And caffeine, okay? You also researched and learned, maybe you should look up something about coffee here. I was going to also refer to the lab itself and, maybe include some of this information like coffee is known to have many health benefits. I researched some information about coffee and then you might include that. So, let's just, or some coffee producers claim that decaf coffee contains mold spores. Some say that caffeine naturally fights off mold. So in the lab, I know I type really loud. Class, I learned that some coffee producers claim that decaf coffee can contain mold spores, something like that. And you would want to go back and fix your font, right, at the end. So maybe have it all be like size 12 or 11 and have it all be the same type of font. But you can do that at the very end. Okay, so maybe you also should research and learn something else, like look up something else about coffee. Okay, so the goal for this investigation was to see if caffeine prevented mold growth. Mold growth. The guiding question was, and what was it? Let's go look. The guiding question was, does caffeine in coffee prevent mold growth? So Control C, boom, plug that in there. Okay, and again, I'll have to go back and fix those fonts at the end. Okay, so take a look at my green now. Have I answered all these questions? Maybe, right? So this is just kind of like a checklist for you to look at. So once you're done with that, then you can delete that, the green, right? And even that information, and just have it be kind of the introduction. So I do know that I want to go back and add some more information there. So I'm going to highlight that to go back, but I'm not going to make this video too long. Okay, so section 2, again, these green, this is basically what it says right here is kind of what you did during the investigation. And then these are specific questions that you want to make sure to have answered in the paragraph. Okay, so describe the procedure. You need to do that. What data did you use, etc. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go to the lab and pretend that this one was completed. I know that I need to have my data table right in there. So I'm going to copy my data table. Oops. And I know that it needs, oh, sorry, I skipped ahead. Dang it. Anyways, you know your data table needs to go in there. I put it in the wrong spot. It goes in the argument section. Anyways, whoops. So, so you're going to look at the procedure. You're going to talk about the qualitative or quantitative data. Oh yeah, so what I was thinking is you're going to attach photos or drawings, and you would get that from the lab that you turned in, and they should be inserted right here. So you could just go and copy and paste them and put them in. Okay, sorry, I got ahead of myself. Okay, so I'm not going to spend time necessarily writing out this section, but you would describe the procedure. And again, you probably collected qualitative data, right? So I would unhighlight that. That was just there as a marker for you. And maybe even not have that be underlined. Okay, and then how you analyzed it, etc. So this one I'm not doing for you, but just going over it. So make sure, again, a checklist of things. That's what those green questions are for. Okay. Third section, the argument section. What is your conclusion? So you're going to restate your revised claim. Oh, did we miss? I think we missed putting our initial claim up here. Yeah, I think I did. Okay, so you should put your initial claim in. My initial claim in the first section. Claim was, and then whatever your initial claim was. I missed that part. Okay. All right. So in section 3, you want to have a revised claim now. And I want you to have a specific photo, well, of your slide. So for period 2, if I pretend I'm in period 2, I would go to my group and could take a copy of my slide. Whoops, you have to get it from here. Copy that. And I know that's going to go, let's just put it on this page because it's big, and let's see what happens. Paste, unlinked. Okay. So there's a picture of the board that you guys made. So you probably want to explain that to reference that, but I just put that in there for now. Your data table goes in here. Your claim is, and you would go to the lab that you turned in, right? And right here you rewrote your claim. So caffeine does not, or caffeine does. And so you put it also on your board if you did that. But here's a claim. Mold does not grow in either caffeinated or decaffeinated coffee because this group didn't have any mold that grew. So State your claim as the first sentence. So that you would say mold does not grow in either caffeinated or decaffeinated, oh my god, coffee. Because, you know, at least for now we can just have it be simply like that. Okay, so this, and you might and it says to refer to your guiding question. So this answers the guiding question. Oh my gosh, good thing I didn't have a class where I have to teach typing. This answers the guiding question of, oh gosh, I don't remember what it is. Let me just go up here and copy it, right? Does caffeine in coffee prevent mold growth? So you go there, okay? And you could quote it or not. Okay, so I did that. What is your argument? Be sure to restate your revised claim. That includes your evidence and your justification. So in my board, and this is where you would restate that, in all of our experiments over the 7-day course of observing, and your reasoning goes here too. So everything from your board feeds in there. If you did not have your experiment done, and this part done, then try to do it on your own, right? That's kind of, we're kind of going in these exercises through stages. So you would have, I'm going to just say this is where your evidence goes to. Let's see, so in all of our experiments, so that's what you would write, is whatever your evidence and your reasoning was. Experiments. Okay, so hopefully you guys get that idea because this video is getting a little long. All right, and then the figure below is your data table, so you would explain that. Data table, okay, and justification of your evidence. So this, I know this is tough, but like why, this is actually asking like why is it important to know about like coffee molding or not. So and then this information, I would say, you could say this information is important because you know, we don't have to worry about coffee molding or whatever, okay? So why is it important to know about whether or not coffee molds? And then the other thing you have to include in this section also is an argument from another group. It's from the argumentation section. So I went, again, that's why I shared these posters with you guys, or these slides that you made. So let's look and see what group 2 said. Caffeine does not prevent mold growth. Mold can grow in both caffeinated coffee and decaffeinated coffee. So that's their argument. This argument, mold does not grow in either. So that's really opposite. So if these guys, group 1 from period 2, they would be referring to the other group's arguments about the mold growing. And so you that's right here where you would just say other groups. Okay, and then so other groups in class had, like, they had mold grow in both of their coffees. So our claims are different, and you would talk maybe about why they're different or how they're the same. Different because, okay. So I don't want to go too long on this, but just that's what this checklist is for in the green. And then you're going to refer to things. So I just want to make sure you know, put the table in, put the board in. If you didn't have a board, maybe, I don't know, you weren't, you know, you were behind. There was a couple of you that had different reasons, but other people are just behind. So yeah, just include what you have, okay? When you're ready, when you're like, okay, now I want to review it, you could go look at other lab report resources, look at my how to write an ADI report, and then again, just go through this section